Hi everyone, Adarsh here. So today we're gonna see how we can create RESTful services by using Jersey API, and then we can secure the complete REST application by using Spring Security. So let's jump into the code and see how it looks like. So starting from pom.xml, we have standard tags here: group ID, artifact ID, version. Packaging is a WAV file because it's gonna be a web application. Name of the application, URL, organizational tag, licensing tag, followed by developer tag here. Then we have a bunch of repositories configured here. Then we have a bunch of properties like project name, source code encoding, JDK version, Spring version. It's a Spring 4.1.6 release, and for Spring Security, I'm using 4.1.0 release. Then we have a Hibernate version for 4.3.5 final version here. Then Hibernate validator, and then MySQL connector dependency here. Then JUnit, SLF4j, and logback. So starting from Spring Core, followed by Spring Context and Spring Web dependency here. So we have twice this dependency. So I can remove this. And then we have a Servlet API dependency here, 2.5. Then Jersey dependency is 1.8. Then we have a Jersey JSON dependency, and then Jersey. This is a dependency where it provide a connector for the Spring itself. So this where you can see Jersey Spring dependency. So this give you the compatibility of using a Jersey API in the Spring application. Then we have a Spring Security Core, Spring Security Web, and Spring Security Configure, and then Spring Security Tag Lib, then Spring ORM for Hibernate, Spring JDBC, and Spring Transaction, and then Hibernate Core we have, and then MySQL connector, CGLib we have, and then Spring Test API, then followed by JUnit, SLF4j, and logback. And this is JSON API for generating a JSON out of entities and all. We have a build tag where we have a war file name and resources tag. Then we have a plugin tag here where we have a standard Maven compiler plugin as well as a embedded JT server plugin here. So code wise we have main and test, and then inside main we have a help where I am having a help.txt and couple of screenshots. We have a Java here. Inside Java we have com.others.spring. Resources we have configuration, databases, properties, and logback dependency. It's not a dependency, it's a configuration file. Inside the web app we have static. Here we have CSS and JS file, and web.inf and index.jsp. Then we have a web.xml here. So let's start from web.xml here. So in the web.xml we have a context param where we have passed the Spring context configuration file location, and then we have a listener here, context loader listener. Then this is a Spring Security a filter configuration, then followed by a Spring Jersey Spring Jersey configuration where we have a init param where all my REST services are inside this package. And then we have a container request filter, and then login filter, and all these parameters I am passing from here. Then Pojo mapping, we are saying that Pojo mapping feature need to be enabled and load on startup here. Then this is a URL, this is a mapping URL /rest. Then we have index.jsp where we have imported a bootstrap min.js, jQuery min.js, and then bootstrap min.css file. And then we have a body. Inside body we have a div tag, and then a couple of classes, and then we are showing some messages on the JSP page. In the static we have CSS where we have bootstrap CSS, style CSS, it's a custom one. And then in the JS we have bootstrap JS and jQuery JS. So in the configurations we have application context.xml, with this is a main XML which loads all the other context files itself in turn. So here we have a component scan for this package com.artist.spring, and then we are reading a property file application.properties. Then we have a application context, importing context.security, context-data source, and context-persistent.xml. So in the data source, basically what we have done, we have a database initializer, a configuration where we are passing a data source, and we are saying that on this path, whatever the SQL is there, please populate that database with this SQL. So in the database we have a db.sql where we are dropping the table and then creating a table and then inserting some data into that. And then we have a data source configuration where we have a driver class, URL name, username and password for that. So all this configuration we have inside the application.properties here. And then Hibernate related properties are also there. So in persistent.xml we have imported application.properties here. Then we have configured a transaction manager, and we are saying that package to scan means all the entity classes are there in com.artist.spring.persistence.entities. So all entities classes are inside this use role and user. And then we have a session factory configuration where we are passing a data source Hibernate package to scan, as well as we are reading dilate, show, SQL and DDL, all these properties from properties application.property. Here we have configured all these properties. And then we have a transaction manager here configuration where we are passing a session factory for that. Then we have a security context.xml. So basically in the security context.xml we have we have configured the annotation configuration, and then we have enabled our global security methods like post and pre, and the JSR 250 annotations are also available. And then we have a access a decision manager, which is this, I'll come to that. Then we have a list of URLs which should not be intercepted as a part of Spring Security. So we have configured the index.jsp, favicon, CSS and JS should not be intercepted from the Spring Security. Then we have a HTTP tag where we are saying anything comes with /rest should be intercepted. Auto configurations we have made false use expressions, we have basically regular expressions we have make it true. And then we have authentication manager configuration here, and then rest endpoint entry point, and then create session always, and CSRF we have disabled. Then we have a custom filter which is rest service filter, so it will be executed before pre-auth filter. And then we are saying anything with CSS or JS should given all the permission, and anything with /rest should at least have user role, admin role or super admin role. And for the logout, this is a URL /rest.logout. It will delete the cookies, invalidate the session, and then rest logout success handler gonna execute. And anything if anybody try to access the application without access, this access denied handler gonna execute. Basically it will execute on certain exceptions internally. Then we have a authentication rest service authentication entry point. So in the entry point what we have done, we are just marking as unauthorized in the header, and we are sending an error. So because of this, Spring Security gonna first the request comes and it goes to that place where we are setting unauthenticate. So Spring Security will start acting on that and start validating that. Then we have a REST service filter which we have configured here, which is gonna execute before pre-auth filter. So we are saying post only false, so it can be get also. Then we are configuring authentication manager here, authentication failure handler, authentication success handler. Filter URL will be rest.login. If URL comes with this, it will take the data like username and password from that request, and then start acting on that. Acting in the sense start validating the user based on this URL and this username and password in the request parameter. So we have access denied handler basically here configuration. So what it does basically, access denied handler, it gonna set the message and response, get the writer from the response and convert into the JSON, and then send back the response that unauthorized. Then we have a REST authentication success handler here, where we are saying that default target URL will be, if REST login will be a default target URL. So if anything comes, means after successful handling of REST service, this will be a default target URL for us. Then we have a REST failure handler. In the REST failure handler, we are just saying the bad credentials and getting the writer from the response object and sending it as unauthorized, and converting into the JSON and then sending back to the client. We have a REST logout handler, basically success logout handler, which what it does basically, it gonna send a message back to the client that logout successful. Then we have access denied access decision manager. So what it does basically, it doesn't check for role underscore admin or role underscore user, and also that prefix I have removed from here, so without any prefix it should work. Then we have a exception translation filter. So any exception generate happens during the inside the application, or any of the request and all, it gonna redirect to the REST service entry point. Then we have a authentication manager, where we have custom user detail service and then in memory user service, which I have configured here itself. And we have a user detail service also. So first that will execute, it will pull the data. If it doesn't find, then it will come to this point. Then in this we have a logback configuration, where we have a console appender and then rolling file appender and so on. So let's get into the classes, where we have a bean class, user bean, where we are setting a ID, login and password, and we are just using it for transporting data. We have a REST login controller, where we are saying that anything's come with /login, it gonna send a message that login successful. So if you see that default target URL is REST login. So what it does basically, after successful login, it will send that request is intercepted here, and then message will be sent in the as a response that login is successful. Then we have in the persistence, we have a user entity, where we have a ID, login, password, and then a relationship 1-to-1 from role to the user. So one user can have one role, like that in this application we have mentioned. And then join table, the third table will be created with this name, and then join column will be user ID and role ID. Then we have a role entity, where we have annotated with the entity and table annotation, and then ID and generation. So it has ID as well as a role, and then it in turn has a set of collection of users. So one user can have multiple roles, and like that. So one to many from here. Then we have a repository, we have a role DEO IMPL. So we are injecting a session factory here, and then by using session factory we are doing the load operations. And we have a user DEO. So here also we are injecting a session factory, and then based on the user login, we are making a query to database, and then get the user object, and then sending back. And this is for here what we have done, we have just created a criteria for the user, and we are getting all the users and then sending back to the column. In the REST web service, we have one REST service basically, where all this annotation is from the Jersey, path service is from the Spring, and then scope is from the Spring, and but path is from Jersey. We have auto-wide user service into this class. all these are annotations are from Jersey API. So what we are saying that it uses a user service and get all the users, and then response dot setting a status 200, then setting an entity user bean dot get user bean list, and then building a response and sending back to the caller. We have a services here like product service and all these things I have not used as of now. We have a role service, this is nowhere used, so I can delete this. So we have a role DEO, basically getting the role based on the ID, and we have user service where it uses internally a user DEO for getting the user based on the username and getting all the users. So let's get into the security classes where we have access denied handler. We already seen this thing. REST authentication entry point, we have seen this thing. Authentication failure handler also we have seen already. REST success handler, basically it gonna get, it just clear the attributes, request attributes, and then it gonna say that login successful and return a message. Basically map is converted into JSON and sent back, and then logout success handler. Here also we are what we are doing, we are just setting a data into map and then converting into the JSON and sending back. We have a REST user detail service, basically which implements user detail service. So what we are doing, we have annotated this class with the service annotation, and we have auto-byte the user DO into that and transactional read only, and then loading a user by name. So what we are doing, we are using a user DO dot get user based on the login, and then we are creating a user object with its permissions, and then setting authorities and all, and then sending back to the caller. Then we have a REST username password authentication filter, basically. So in this filter we are not doing anything, we have just override and we are just logging some information into this. Basically what we have done, we are just calling a super method with like, so we ultimately we are not doing anything into this class. So let's fire up the application and see how it looks like. So first I'll build the mvn clean install. I'll just build the application first by using Maven. So it has something like .spring.services mvn clean install. I guess some problem is there in the services, so I need to check. Cannot find symbol REST service, REST web service. So I'll just go into this. Clean mvn clean install services. So let's get into the services and see what's the problem here. It's complaining about the product service which I have deleted, and it's not in use, so I need to check it is used or some import statements are there, so I can just remove that thing. So it's saying that REST web services.java cannot find symbol REST web services, so I don't think so I'm using anything here. To that, let's save this, close this, and then ambient clean install. So now it's working, because sometimes what it does in the terminal itself, that things will be cached, and due to that it complains something which is not or relevant. So I'm saying mvn jt colon run. So we have a embedded jt container configured in the pom.xml, so that gonna execute here. So what it does, basically it gonna connect to this MySQL, this localhost in the on this database with the root username. It's creating all the data, and you can see here in the log. So now started at port number 8080. So let's start the application. So index.page JSP will execute, and then we have a help.txt where we have a copy, and that's gonna be a post request. So here if I say, it will not accept the unauthenticated bad credential, but the moment I click on this xww form encoded, and if I say send the request, here you can see logon successful, and in the header you can see here authentication success, login success messages, and then cookies. You can see the JSON is created here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna duplicate this tab. I'm gonna send a request to the service, copy, and this is gonna be a get request, and I'm gonna get the JSON copy here, and this I'm gonna replace with the JSON, and I'm gonna hit. So here you can see the data is fetched, user list, and you can see here the data has been returned. So all these messages we are getting because we in the web.xml we have enabled that logging and all, so that's why we can see all these things in the console. So if I say, if I need to log out, I'll just change the, instead of list I'll just make it log out, and sorry and to copy the JSON. So here you can see Spark logout successful. So that's how we can do, and I'm gonna save this piece of code in my GitHub repository, which is github.com Adarsh Kumar Singh 83 slash spring security slash spring underscore security. So like my previous applications are already there, you can pull it up and you can play around with this. So I hope this will help you to understand how we can use a Jersey framework with the Spring Security for securing application. So I'll come up with something new and interesting. Till then, take care. Bye.